Yes! Ooh. I just got a bunch of oil into my eye. What is it that makes the perfect daily driver for winter? You guessed it, all-wheel drive BMW. This is my crash-damaged BMW 530X drive that I just bought. And it has one big problem that stopped the previous owner from fixing it.
Last winter, the previous owner lost control of the car and crashed it into a concrete block. His plan was to fix it himself, but after he replaced the broken suspension parts, he found out that there's a huge problem with the engine that he can't fix.
At first sight, this may seem like it's an easy repair. New bumper, new hood, new plastic bits here and there, and it's good as new. But when the owner took this car on his first test drive after the crash, the engine started leaking oil badly, and then he realized that fixing it is out of his capability. The best thing about this car is that it has equipment that every BMW owner wants to have. That is comfort interior with memory seats, heated steering wheel, soft close, head-up display, cup holders, adaptive cruise control, and the craziest, night vision. And probably some other things that I forgot. The fact that back in 2012 this car sold for $500,000 crowns, $45,000 to $50,000, already tells you enough that this car is pretty decent equipment. Originally the car was actually not for sale. Then I saw this car standing by the side of the road abandoned, so then I decided to find the owner and send you a message. And then after a while I got a message back. The previous owner did like the car a lot, so he didn't really want to sell it. His plan was to fix it, but since it was just standing, he wanted to sell it to someone who's gonna fix it. There's also a few other things that are broken, such as the wiper, the rear trunk lift, big scuff here by the rear wheel, and of course some other bits and ends. There is a lot of visual damage on the car, but for now they are the least of our worries if we can figure out the reason for the oil leak. Holy cow, so much oil, it's just swimming. Only 183,000. There's a lot of warning lights. When we got the car, I was gonna drive it home, then we added oil, I started it, and I was gonna move the car, and the car was completely stuck. It was just stuck. And then we lifted the car up and we realized that this wheel was locked. And the cause for this was they had installed this wheel in the front. Yes, so they had installed this wheel in the front and this was on the front of the other side. These wheels are not from X-Drive because they have different diameters. This one is 275. That one is 245 width. So that's why that wheel was actually up tight against the strut, making it completely locked. Actually, when the car was crashed, it was crashed here. And the wheel was broken, the lower control arms was broken. The CV axle was actually also broken, so he replaced that. And he spent good money replacing this control arms, the whole CV axle. Here you can see the active oil leak from here. And what's crazy about it is that it's not coming from the top. It's coming somewhere from inside the drive shaft. You can see that it is basically dry on the gasket. And it's literally an active oil leak right here. Because the way it works is the right CV axle, it goes through the oil pan and into the transfer case. And what is so weird is because this is the oil pan after part code. The drive shaft is just a tunnel that the drive shaft goes through, and there's no way for it to, that engine oil would leak out. It would make sense if it was leaking through that hole that it would be transfer case oil, transmission oil, but it's not. This is engine oil. So the only way it would leak here is it would be through the oil pan gasket, and it's not. And this is engine oil, 100%. And you can see that this is a new part. They replaced this one together with this one, and the only logical explanation is that there's a crack or something somewhere in the oil pan, because there's no other way that it would leak. And you can see it's literally an active leakage. So this leak makes no sense. Oh yeah, so you can see it's hard to show, but there you can see the crack right there in the oil pan. So probably what happened when the car was crashed, the whole drive shaft got pushed this way backwards, together with this thing twisted and cracked the oil pan. Looks pretty clean. In order to replace the oil pan, we need to remove the front diff. And in order to drop the front diff, we need to pull out the left drive axle from the diff. We don't need to remove it, we can just pull it back. And in order to pull it back, we have to drop the knuckle from the shock. Seems like it's coming out. So now the axle is completely out of the diff. We need to also do the same on this side, just that we need to remove the whole axle completely, together with this bracket. So firstly the bolt. Okay, that should be good for now. We'll probably need to undo this way bar link. Yes! Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. The drive shafty shaft is out. I was gonna drain the oil, but I don't have the right socket here, so I will need to do it later. So now I'm gonna remove the prof shaft. Good. Beautiful. Nice juicy crack. Now you can see this whole crack is where the oil was leaking. I found a second-hand whole new oil pan that I ordered together with all the gaskets. So actually, to get the oil pan off, we have to remove the front diff. And to remove the front diff, we have to lower the subframe. So that's why we have to support the engine and loosen the engine mounts. So the first one. Whoa, that was loose. Remove the nut. You can see the steering column is in the way to the engine mount, and we need to undo it anyway when we are going to drop the subframe. Okay, it's out. Of course it's not gonna be that easy. You know what, guys, I'm just gonna leave it there now. Maybe now I can get access to the engine mount. Yes. Okay. Yes. So the column came off. There you can see. Always loosen the fill plug first. That's very clean. There is around 1 liter of oil. I need to remove the whole plastic here. There's 2 more bolts here. So this bracket also needs to come off. Oh yeah, it's dropping. Ooh. Oi. So now you can see that the subframe is pretty loose. You can see how much space we have. I tied the whole knuckle with these things, so there's no pressure on the lines, and the same is on this side. I think there's 3 bolts holding the diff in place. So the 2 on the lower ones that we loosened and the 1 on top. And then we should be able to get it out without any struggle. Then the bolt on top. Okay, so the upper one is out. Is there any more bolts holding it? Oh yeah. And then the last one. So the diff is out. What I find weird is now when I remove the diff, I can see that there's so many bolts here missing. This one is loose completely. So I don't know what he did. Maybe he tried to remove the oil pan already, or I don't know, man. It's so weird. So we have good access around everywhere. We just need to undo the gearbox cooler and move it to the side. So we're actually missing 4 bolts when I check now. Okay, I need to remove the dipstick. Ah, and the bracket for the lines. Yep. Right here you can see the crack clear as day. And here we have another new / used oil pan. Looks the same, just needs a very good clean. The oil pan is also from 2008 530 X-Drive. Of course X-Drive, because it has the tunnel for the CV axle. Here's the inside of the engine. Timing chain is good, I guess. I just got a bunch of oil into my eye. So I have ordered these 4 bolts that was missing, but I haven't got them yet. So that's why I left them here, so I can put them in later. And now all M8 bolts are torqued to 90 Newton meters, and M6, the small ones, are 8. Then the lines for the gearbox cooler. Then the gearbox cooler. Another thing is the minus cable for the between the engine and the frame was very crusty, and I touched it and it almost broke off. So here we have another one. Good. Another thing what I realized Not only was these bolts missing, but apparently the engine mount is also loose. I never loosened it, and you can see how completely loose it is. Dangerous. So now the engine mount is solid. I also put in the dipstick with the new O-ring. We can probably put in the diff now. Since I knew the diff is going to be out, I picked up a new seal, the dust seal here. So we need to pop out the old one and just put the new one in. Whoop. Gonna lube it up. Then the front diff to the oil pan is torqued to 42. 75 W90. Whoop. Then the plug. Subframe is 100 Newton meters and 90 degrees. Engine mounts 56. Torque to 81 Newton meter. Nice. So now I'm back from BMW. I picked up 4 oil pan bolts. So let's slap these bad boys in. The garage is such a mess right now. Now we can put the housing for the drive shaft. So that is in. At this point we can probably put in the drive shaft. Yes. I can't get the drive shaft in. Are you crazy? Okay, this took way longer than it should have. But finally the drive shaft is in. So the way I managed to do it is I loosened the lower ball joint, pulled the stub out of it, and then that gave me the room to just use the whole knuckle as a force and just smash it in there. When you're tightening your ball joint, another tip is to jack it up with the jack under it, and that supplies just enough pressure for the whole ball joint itself to not spin. And lastly, the sway bar link on this side. I'm pretty sure the battery is dead. So the car is working decently right now. It is running. There's so many lights shining, it's crazy. There's a lot of warning lights shining. Even here on the iDrive, you can see there's so many. But most of them is just for the lights not working. Lights, this one I'm not quite sure about, the ABS and 4x4. PDC, the sensors are disconnected. Flat tire monitor, not quite sure, that we'll need to check it out what's wrong. But it is driving pretty solid if you ask me. You can clearly feel the 4x4, the way it pulls. So I am excited to take it on a good test drive when we fully fix this thing. Maybe try it in snow, if we will have some. Oi. The head-up display is working completely fine, so that's at least good. Still, the craziest thing is what you see here. This is, I guess, adaptive cruise control, but this button here is the night vision. So right here, when you're driving, you should be able to see all the other cars driving. Not quite sure how it works though. By the way guys, I have bought another E90. I said I was not gonna buy any more E90s, but when good deals come around, you can just not buy them. So the previous owner crashed it, you could say. Ran over some curbs, so the front subframe is bent and some other things, and it's not running after the accident as well. So I don't know if you guys want to see me fix this thing. Let me know in the comment section. So this is gonna be it for this episode. We did manage to get a fair amount of things done in this video. Running fine, not leaking any fluids, nothing. In the next video we will need to troubleshoot the four-wheel drive system and the ABS system, and also we're gonna start rebuilding it, replacing the hood, the bumper, fix the lights, replace the panels, under panels, and all these things. So thank you guys for your support, and see you in the next one.
You gotta tell me when you thought it would end. I don't know where you've been. I don't wanna do this again.